Interesting. All right, guys, we're back. We took a day off yesterday because I actually had a 24-hour shift, but we're gonna get right into this. I did some off-stream work yesterday. We got the quote for the intro. We got the quote for the outro. We're gonna go into how it fits into the narrative, and we'll go from there. Tomorrow will be the last day for the outline. I just gotta write the conclusion, and no, I gotta write the penultimate section, then the conclusion. But for now, let's just go over what we got. Then we'll start working on the intro quote, and we'll start working on the outro quote. All right, let's get to it. We're gonna do about 30 minutes worth of work today. Yeah, 30 minutes. Because I gotta make time for sprite animation stuff, and I gotta go to bed. Because I got work tomorrow. Okay, let's see. Again, the thesis is gonna be a person is more than the role they are giving. Using Tohno as an example, identity is created through experiences, relationships, and choices. Shiki Tohno represents this idea because despite his origins, his identity develops through the people he meets and the choices he makes through life. Also, Nier Automata. Yeah, that is Nier Automata. Alright. Nanaya can be seen as the inverse of this. He didn't have the same opportunities that Tohno had. Remember, Nanaya is supposed to be the suppressed self. Is a suppressed self. Due to the massacre, he never had the opportunity to become something. His role is reduced to a being that sleeps until he is needed. So in a way, he never receives the opportunity to grow and remains tied to the purpose and role created by the Nanaya family. In the end, in my opinion, the tragedy of Nanaya isn't that he is a killer, is that killing became the only identity the world allowed him to have. For the most part, I do like that. I might change it a little bit, but that's generally what this is going to be about. We're going to be talking about his identity. Okay. Introduction is fine. Introduce the idea that people are more than their nature and purpose. People can go through their entire lives trying to figure out who am I. Identity isn't something we are born with. It is something that we build up over time. People inherit things that they can't control, such as abilities, circumstances, and expectations. But a person is more than these things. But what happens when someone isn't given that opportunity? Introduce Nanaya after this. So things to note, Nanaya represents a disturbing aspect in my opinion. Untapped potential that is hindered by circumstances. He is dormant within Tohno and will take over in certain situations that puts Tohno's life in danger. No, if Tohno dies, he dies too. Case in point being when he took over during the Nero fight when Tohno was going to lose. Remember this, Nero is busted. All 666 creatures have to be killed before he can die, which Nanaya did pretty much effortlessly. Tatsumi 9 is an interesting aspect because he exists as a separate entity created by Tatsumi. To put it simply, Tohno with a dormant Nanaya persona can run around while Tatsumi Nanaya is also running around. Important, if Tatsumi Nanaya is killed or the Nada Lachio dissipates, the dormant Nanaya persona is fine because he's inside Tohno's dome. 2. Nanaya should be seen as a person who is good at the role he is given. He is the dormant, confident persona who kills when needed. He isn't frightening because he kills. He is frightening because killing isn't something he chose. It's the only identity the world gave him. But it should be noted that he did set out to kill Arcade in the alleyway, killed Nero, and will fight Koma to the death during certain situations. In a nutshell, Nanaya can be seen as a tragic character because he's a person reduced to a certain purpose. Alright, we're not going to go over all the sections, but we're just going to pretty much touch base on them. Section 1 is Nanaya's role and function. We got a good amount of work there. Section 2, what Nanaya couldn't become due to circumstance. Section 3 is Nanaya's role as an identity. Section 4 is the Nanaya versus Tohno aspect. Section 5 is dedicated just for Tatsumi Nanaya. Section 6 is the identity he never had. Section 7 is Nanaya, the true self. Section 8 is the prison aspect of it. Section 9 is Nanaya and the concept of death. Fuck it, I'll write that. The concept of death. Section 10 is what Nanaya represents. Section 11 is the myth tie-in. We're gonna keep this. This is... Alright, I gotta actually yap for a second while listening to Nier. Love Nier, but... it's something... This is an important aspect of it. Because we're doing a mythological tie-in that's kind of the inverse of what Nanaya is. So we're using Achilles from Greek mythology. So in Greek mythology, Achilles is given a choice. Live a short life of glory or live a long, ordinary life. I fact-checked the law yesterday because I had plenty of time at the desk. His identity was already being shaped by expectation about what he was going to become. He was given a choice. So based on that choice, there was another life he could have lived. Nanaya wasn't given that opportunity like that. Using both Tohno and Nanaya, since they both share the same origin, Nanaya was born into the Nanaya family, trained for their purpose, demon hunters, similar to Ryogi's family. And then the master perhaps before he can grow before we can grow beyond that environment. So think about it for a second. Massacre doesn't happen. I'm not saying you do get Shiki Nanaya. It's a possibility. He's generally still a what if. But the massacre happens and we get Shiki Tohno, the Tohno that we all know. So it's all circumstance at the end of the day. Does the massacre happen? Yes, you get Tohno. If it doesn't, we don't know. We could assume that Nanya is the end result, but we just don't know. So Achilles chose his role that defines him. Nanya is left with a role that was already defined for him. Okay. Quotes. James Baldwin. I am what time, circumstance, and history have made of me. Certainly, but I am also much more than that. Conclusion. Carl Jung as usual, because we use Carl Jung a lot. The privilege of a lifetime is to be who you truly are. So we'll start with the intro. We'll start coming up with ideas. I do have some ideas how this ties in, but we'll see. I might change them, but I might not. We got about 20 minutes worth of working time. Then tomorrow, definitely we'll come up with the penultimate section, then conclusion. Tomorrow's Thursday. Friday, we'll start the actual essay itself. I am what circumstance and history have made of me. Certainly, but I am also much more than that. How would this fit in? I am what time, circumstance, and history have made of me. Certainly, but I am also much more than that. This works. I think this works. Yes. I think this worked because the idea of circumstance shapes a person. Because Nanya is other characters by circumstance. Shiki attacks. I'll use Akia's situation as an example here. Shiki attacks Akia. We'll just say just gets locked up. Not literally, but gets locked up. We're not going to talk about it. It is a thing, but that's its own separate video. I cannot spell right now. All of this is circumstance right there. So I think this is where the circumstance can shape a person. Again, other characters are shaped by circumstances. Using Akio Tohno as an example. Shiki, her actual older brother Shiki, attacks her. Child Shiki, which is Tohno, takes the blow. Jesus Christ. Takes the blow, thus saving Akio. Shiki gets locked up. Akio's dad dies. Since Shiki, being the oldest, is not there due to his imprisonment, we aren't going to talk about the whole role aspect of it. Akio takes over. Then we get the events of Tsukihime, because she tells Tohno to come back home. So since I'm going with the angle, circumstance can shape a person. I have to be careful. Because it can shape a person, but they aren't supposed to be the whole person. I have to be careful. And I cannot spell when I'm actually fucking streaming. Okay, I gotta be careful because the whole concept of it. Because people spend their entire lives. People spend their entire lives trying to figure out the who am I aspect again. People spend their entire lives trying to figure out the who am I aspect. Identity, in my opinion, isn't something that appears when you're born. You have to build it up. You have to build it up. A house can't be built without a foundation. I gotta finish this up I got 15 minutes left. Because I still have to do my sprite animation stream stuff and go to bed. Because I gotta be up early again. The weekends are a lot easier for me, definitely because I'm off, but I have to make time for this and I can make time for that. So a house can't be built without a foundation. So just to repeat what we talked about up there. Person can inherit things we can't control. Look at Shiro Emiya. After the fire, my man got a whole house. Or Ren's dad got, well, Well, she was gonna inherit it regardless. But you again, what I was getting at, Emiya got a whole entire house. Can't control. Such as power, money, abilities, etc. Abilities, circumstances. I know expectations. We said circumstances like 50 times. It's etc. So besides that, just repeat what we mentioned earlier. A person can inherit things we can't control, such as power, money, abilities, expectations. Don't drink unless you're my age. Cherish your liver. Just for people we mentioned earlier, a person can inherit things we can't control, such as power, money, abilities, expectations. But if you really want to be cute about it, all those things don't decide what you become. What's a good example? I think we can use Shion here as an example. She's from a disgraced family. She got the brains, for sure. It's just Walachi's shenanigans destroyed their family, the Elton family. She had no control of that. She had to rebuild herself from the ground up. Her identity was with the cursed child of a cursed family. We'll go from that. But it doesn't define all the negativity that her family got didn't define her as a person. She's a bitch when we first meet her, but she really mellows out throughout the story of Melty Blood, and we get Under Night Shion. Oh no, which is she's a mood. She's a mood. She's too damn meta. But her circumstances did not define her, like at all. My opinion. Those things, in my opinion, don't define who we are. All right. Okay, but those things, in my opinion, don't define who we are. People spend their entire lives trying to figure out the who am I aspect. Identity. Amusement park. I'm gonna shut up now, so we can hear this. This is where Naya. Okay. All right. I think we're good. But what time is it? Fuck. All right. Quotes. Intro quotes could be James Baldwin. I am what time, circumstance, and history have made of me. Certainly. But I am also much more than that. Oh, I gotta read that a very weird way when I done this. I am what time, circumstance, and history have made of me. Certainly. But I am also much more than that. I think this works because circumstance can shape a person. Again, other characters are shaped by circumstance. Use an example. Shiki attacks Akiya. Child Shiki takes the blow, thus saving Akiya. Shiki gets locked up, prison, whatever you want to call it. Akiya's dad dies afterwards. Since Shiki, being the oldest, is not there to inherit the Tohno household, Akiya takes over. We're not going to talk about the Rolla aspect of this. That's his own video if I decide to do Rolla someday. Akiya takes over the Tohno estate, and Tsukihime happens. All this, Jesus, here is circumstance. So since I'm going with the angle that circumstance can shape a person, I have to be wary here because the whole person, because of the whole person concept of it. People spend their entire lives trying to figure out the who am I aspect. Identity, in my opinion, isn't something that appears when you were born. You have to build it up. A house can't be built without a foundation. Just to repeat what we mentioned earlier. A person can inherit things we can't control, such as power, money, abilities, expectations, etc. But those things, in my opinion, don't define who we are. This once again comes to the question about what happens when someone isn't given the chance to become something else. This is where Nanaya comes into place. He is a person reduced to a role. Think how Tatsuri Nanaya functions, because he has to fulfill the rumor that Tatsuri gives him of a soul. If there's a killer at night killing people with a knife, there's most likely to be a Nanya's probably going to get manifested. Tatsuri, in my opinion, is extremely utterly busted. But I think we don't need to add anything else to this. I think we're actually good. I wonder. Later on, I definitely have to add. Wait, what time is it? Fuck. I'm not gonna have enough time to actually do the conclusion one. We can do that tomorrow too. That's fine. Tomorrow's gonna be a relatively short stream, but I actually do want to get I want to get these done, both streams, at least 30 to 40 minutes. Nanya's role and function. When Nanaya couldn't become due to circumstance, Nanya's role as an identity. The Nanaya versus Tohno aspect of it. Tatsuri Nanaya. Section 6, the identity we never had. Section 7 is Nanaya, the real Shiki. Section 8 is prison. Section 9 is Nanaya and the concept of death. Section 10 is what Nanaya represents. Section 11 is the myth tie-in. We can get that to work. Quote 1 is, I am what time, circumstance, and history has made of me. History have made of me, certainly. But I'm also much more than that. So we did that tonight. The conclusion will be, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. I can start this. Give me like a minute to think here. Marvel token fighting souls. Don't mind me. People are loading that up right now. I haven't touched a fighting game in a long, long time. Like if someone tells me, hey, you want to play Multi-Blood? Bet, let's go. But I just can't do it anymore. I could, but it's just the time to actually sit down and actually grind and learn a game from top to bottom like I used to do. It's just so hard these days. It's just the timing. All right. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Which is funny, because when we think of Shiki Tohno, besides his shenanigans with women, the kind... Fuck, give me a second. Even when I'm off duty, I'm on duty. Okay. Sorry about that. When we think of Shiki Tohno, we think of the kind-hearted boy, besides his womanizing ways. When we think of characters like Ryogi Shiki, she's not a cold-hearted person. She's a very complex character who generally does the right thing at the end of the day. She just keeps to herself for the most part. She's still a good person. Yeah, she's still a good person. When I think of Nanaya, cool, calm, collected, confident, etc. So, bridge of a lifetime to become who you truly are. All those characters, they grow from humble, well, not humble beginnings. They grow from what they start into becoming a completely different person. Shion is an example. I mentioned at the first part of Melty Blood, she comes off as a bitch. Then, as the series progresses, she kind of mellows out. Then she gets her. Can I say a good ending? Yeah, she gets a good ending because Vree's wife is back in her life. She has friends. Yeah, she has friends. Vree's wife is back in her life. Tatsuri is gone. We won't count Under Night because Under Night's its own little separate thing, but she started off as what she started off as and grew as a result as the games progressed. And yeah, it's a happy ending. So the privilege of lifetime to become who you truly are. Fuck. I'm not gonna be able to start this because work is actually blowing up my phone now. Okay. I don't want to fuck around and find out. So tomorrow when I get back here, because work is blowing up my phone right now, we'll continue. We'll get to how this conclusion quote fits. We'll start the penultimate section. We'll do the conclusion, then we'll go from there. Friday, I'm looking to start the essay. Today's August 12th. I'm looking for at least like a maybe September 1st release of this. So bear with me, stand by. Besides that, enjoy the VOD, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.